Hello and welcome to the Sunday Standard Weekly News Review. This is a platform that we use to discuss the big stories of the week. And this week we're talking land as part of Botswana's overall economic strategy. Last week, Bamalete won a landmark case through which they were able to keep a farm that a land board had wanted to take away from them. And this is really a part of a much bigger problem all over Botswana, where Batswana are being dispossessed of their land by either themselves willingly selling it or being seized from them. And my name is Mogapi. And to discuss this issue further, I'm joined by Victor Baatweng, the business editor for both the Sunday Standard and the Telegraph newspapers. Good morning, Victor, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Spencer.
Let's use the Bamalete case as kind of a talking point to reflect on the overall problem of land in Botswana. Can you just, Victor, look at what role land plays in the big strategy, the economic strategy as announced recently by President Masisi for the overall transformation of this country's economy?
Thank you very much. Well, you will remember, Spencer, that the economic transformation plan came about as a result of the government realizing what is really happening within our economy, particularly to do with COVID-19, the effect it had on our economy. And COVID-19 is barely new in our land. It's almost just over a year now. And before that, we had other economic problems that were in existence, which is why the ERTP came in place to actually look at issues such as diversification, economic diversification, and wealth creation for the people. You remember that this was the same President Masisi in April 2020 who said that he was going to sign a citizen economic empowerment law by July last year. That was also part of the whole talk that has been there to say how do we empower Botswana economically. And one thing that has been left behind over the years, in my view, is that the issue of land. We have found ourselves in a situation where we want to diversify our economy away from minerals and to start to go into areas such as manufacturing and agro-processing. And to do that, basic economics dictates that we use land. And if we treat that with the fact that we want to empower the locals, then you have to say, how do you use the land to empower the locals? It could either be allocating land to them, leasing it out to them in cases where they don't acquire it, or in cases of where they have it, empowering them with knowledge and information on the options that they have in terms of how to make wealth out of it.
One then may ask themselves, does both the people and the government, do they really understand if this particular plan, economic plan by government is to succeed? Is there an understanding of where land really sits in the overall strategy?
I doubt they do, because look, we've had so many cases of Batswana being allocated land and selling it the next chance they get. Partially is because of some don't have option, really. They are poor, they need exactly cash there and there. But some of them is an issue of not having enough knowledge in terms of the options they have. If you go to rural areas in Botswana, particularly in the northwest, where people have luxury land within the riverbanks, they don't really know that they could actually lease out the land to the private developers who want to do something on those projects. Most of them they see selling outright sell, saying as the only option that is available. But I envision a situation where if our government was really serious about issues relating to agro-tourism and agro-processing, where now we become deliberate as government and say, we are going to place a law student, for instance, at the University of Botswana that the government is paying for. You could take fourth year or even fifth year law student and place them during their semester vacation in different districts, so that they just spend a week or two teaching people on the available options they have with their land. Because we have always assumed that Botswana knows their land rights and the value they could get from their land. But at the rate at which we sell our land, to me, it somehow says there's a population that doesn't really know what really value they could get from that.
I get a sense, to put it in a simpler terms, that you are saying Batswana do not understand the value of land, basically.
Absolutely, they don't, and that is why even the economic transformation plan is highly likely not to benefit them.
So what needs to be done? People have been allocated land, people have sold land to expatriates. Where they have not sold, they are not developing. So what options do the government have?
Yeah, I think there's a reason why people can't develop. It's an issue that we even spoke about last week. The cost of living assistance. We find ourselves in a situation where even if you are Spencer and you have a land, where you work, you don't have, you're not paid enough to have savings. Enough for you to develop that land, you need extra savings. So you find that a majority of people would not have savings to develop that land. And like I said a few minutes ago, it's also an issue of saying what other options do they have in terms of developing that land. So the government needs to be affirmative on this issue, to say if they have identified a group of people, say in Kwaneng or whatever area, who are into farming, the government needs to be affirmative about them and to help them. There are issues such as some of them that are issues just to do with fencing and borehole within a cluster, a given cluster. Some of them, that's all they need. They have the land already. The government just need to put up an issue of clustering them. Or some of these programs that are already in existence. It's just an issue of poor implementation on the government side.
And talking about the Bamalete landmark case, are there any lessons to be learned from there, for example, by people in the premier tourism areas of Okavango, the Chobe areas? Is there any lesson to be learned? Bamalete have now been able to keep their land. It did not come easily, but now they are there, they have it.
Yeah, I think it was disappointing, or it's disappointing for the government to think that they can just wake up and go and grab land that a tribe like Bamalete had bought for themselves. I mean, if you go back in history, you realize that these people had bought that land from someone else at the time. So it was only fair that if the government wanted to repossess the land, they compensate for that. But in this case, we found a situation where the government just wanted to come and grab back the land. So we have similar situations in areas such as Maremi Game Reserve in Northwest. The Mau Education Park was also a case. But that one was solved outside the court, where the leader there and the tribe campaigned really to get the land back. They have got the back land, but it's not yet beneficial to the people. We don't know the progress as yet, and it's one of those that we could also follow up and see. But now that the land is back in the hands of the people, what other options are there for the entire population of Ngamiland or the entire population of Botswana to actually benefit from it, since the land is in a luxury spot?
Thank you very much. That's all that we had time for this week. Thank you very much, Victor.
Thanks, Spencer.